Deborah from Cook Colorful. Almost every year at Thanksgiving, I love to make this wild mushroom soup with a little bit of truffle oil drizzled over the top. And last year I made it in one of my classes. It was a huge hit. So this year I put it onto my website, and I thought I would make a video so that you guys could watch me make it and it would be a little easier for you to replicate at home. So come on along and I'll show you how it's done. First, we want to clean our mushrooms. The wild mushrooms, in this case cremini, I'm just going to brush the visible dirt off of them with paper towel. The baby bellas had a bit more dirt, so I decided to rinse them with water. Now we just want to rough chop our mushrooms. So we'll cut the stems as well as the heads to roughly the same size. And we'll go through the rest of those. Now we're going to do the same thing with our baby bellas. Cut the stems, cut through the heads, again, about the same size. And now we want to slice our onions. So we're going to slice from the top to the bottom of the onion, rotate it if it makes it easier to hold. And this is all going to be blended into the soup, so the size is not super important. You just want it to be about the same size. So we'll grab a little bit of parsley to add to that as well. And I'm doubling the recipe here, so I have a few stalks. And now we're ready to put it all together. So we're going to grab a pot. I have a stock pot because I'm doubling the recipe, but for a single recipe, a 4-quart saucepan would be perfect. So we'll turn the heat to medium. We'll add our vegan butter, and we're going to let that melt. And then we will add our onions. We'll give them a quick stir, and we'll break up the onions a bit as we do. Then we'll add a little kosher salt to allow them to sweat off the excess water. So we'll let that cook for a few minutes until the water is gone. There you can see that. And now we're going to add the rest of our butter as well as all of our mushrooms. We'll add a little bit more kosher salt to this. It's best to lightly salt each layer as you add it rather than salting the entire thing at the end. Not only will that help the vegetables to sweat, but it will also allow you to have a better idea of how much salt that you want to add in the end. So we'll give that a stir. And then we're going to cook that for about 8 to 10 minutes. It's been a few minutes here. We'll stir it occasionally, and you see that the water is already coming off of the mushrooms. Here, it's been about 8 minutes, and you can see how much water there is. Because I doubled the recipe, it's taking more time than usual to cook off that water. Ideally, you want to cook off most of the water from the mushrooms. It'll give you a richer soup in the end. Now, I'm being impatient today, so I'm going to go ahead and add my stock. 8 cups since I'm doubling the recipe. Now I'm going to turn up the heat, and I'm going to bring that to a boil. I'm going to throw my parsley right on top, and then I'll give that a stir. Now once it hits a boil, I'm going to turn it down to low, put the lid on, and simmer it for about an hour. For an even richer soup, you could leave the lid off and let it simmer without the lid. You won't get as much soup, but the flavor will be even more delicious. So here we are after about an hour. We'll let this cool for a few minutes before we blend. Okay, so our soup has been simmering for about an hour. We have our blender ready, and we have a bowl set out so that we can take our soup, blend it, and put it in here because we're going to have to do it in batches because we have so much. And then once it's all done, we'll put it back into the pot, add our sherry, spice it up, make sure it tastes just right, and then it'll be all done. So now I'm going to put the soup in the blender. I'm only going to fill it about halfway because the soup is hot and I don't want the hot liquid or the steam to burn me. Now you could also use a towel to hold the lid to further protect yourself. Start the blender on low so that it doesn't splash too much. And then we're going to turn it up to high or puree until it's smooth. Now once it's completely smooth, turn it off, and then we'll pour the hot soup into our bowl. And we're going to continue to do that until all the soup is blended. So here we have our wild mushroom soup all blended. I have the heat on medium-high. I'm going to add the sherry, but I want to heat it so that the alcohol will cook off, leaving just that wonderful flavor. After a few minutes, we'll give it a stir and a taste to see what is still needed. I'm going to add a little bit of kosher salt and some freshly ground pepper. Then we'll give it one more stir. We'll taste it one more time. And we're good to go. It is so good.
Okay, that's it. That's how easy it is to make this soup. Now, I have a bowl here, and I have my truffle oil, which I got this at Wegmans. I think most any gourmet market will have truffle oil. And it comes with a little top on there, so it just comes out in little drops because it's a very strong flavor and you wouldn't want too much. But we're just gonna put a little drizzle, a few drops or a little drizzle, depending on how much you like truffles. Put that on top and take a bite. Oh, it is so full of flavor and warmth and coziness and everything good for the fall. Try this soup, you will love it. Stay safe and cook colorful, everybody.